Destro sighed, as he looked over his troops. Over 100,000 people. Made up of dozens of different criminal organizations, and hundreds of non-affiliated villains. All held in one of his underground secret bases. It was a true army. It's time, Karai told him. Destro took a deep breath. Right. He stepped forwards towards the army. Ladies and gentlemen. The time has come. Today is the day, we the strong, take what rightfully belongs to us. Midoriya Izuku, weak and pathetic as he is, has given himself undeserved power, by manipulating children, and hoarding secrets not meant for him. But that ends today. We shall go to the Midoriya Foundation, take his secrets, and the children. And then we shall show Midoriya, his place in this world. Yeh hi! Shouted the army. Destro clad himself in his quirk, turning into a giant hulking black beast before Kurogiri's portal opened behind him. Now come, for the glory of the strong. Their leader charged through the portal, causing everyone else to run after him, running through the massive portal in massive numbers. And when they came out on the other side, they found themselves almost directly in front of the Midoriya house. Although they could barely see it, through the thick fog that encompassed the area. Fog? Karai said, as her forces still gathered behind her. A few moments later, everyone had exited the portal, which closed behind them. All our forces have arrived. Destro said, as he stared up at Midoriya's office. Everyone. Finally. To think that many of you would gather here. They suddenly heard Izuku's voice booming from above. How unfortunate. Then suddenly, the fog started to disperse. It was then that they saw it. A giant armada of blue and white airships, and in the center of them, was an even larger ship, with the name of the ship on the side. The Blue Typhoon. But that was just the beginning of the surprises. The ground shook, as suddenly, giant metal walls rose up far off in the distance, trapping them within the area of the Midoriya Foundation. It's a trap! Karai shouted. Welcome everyone. I'm afraid you've walked right into my trap. Izuku said over the speakers on the Blue Typhoon. I will attempt to spare as many of you as possible, but I can't guarantee your lives. Surrender if you want. It might save you. Grrrr. Midoriya. Destro shouted as he leaped towards the Blue Typhoon. The other ships around it tried shooting him down, but their energy shots did minimal damage to the villain, as he got closer and closer to the main ship. And just when he was about to crash into it, suddenly, bam! A blue blur crashed into him from above, slamming him into the ground so hard it kicked up a massive cloud of dirt and dust. And when it died down, everyone could see who'd done it. Standing on top of the villain was Gamma 2. Did you really think we'd let you do that? Gamma 2 mocked the villain, as he stood on his back. Get real. Initiate Phase 2, Izuku said. Phase 2. Karai noted, realizing that meant Izuku's attack on them had already started. Suddenly the ground shook once more, as the sound of thousands of footsteps coming towards them could be heard from all around. Grims suddenly surrounded them, many flying up from the cover of the trees into the air, and others emerging from the forest, until they were surrounded from every conceivable angle, by a sea of black. The Grimm started attacking the villains, with the flying ones picking up villains and carrying them off. Meanwhile, most of the villains just let them. A very small number of them tried to fight back against the Grimm, but the vast majority of them just stood around looking confused. I can't fight back, shouted on the villains, before his chest was slashed open by a Beowulf. Something's wrong. Something's keeping them from fighting back. Karai noted as she dodged a griffin's grab and stabbed it in the neck. I can still fight though. Maybe it's something in the air. And she was right, a big part of Phase 1 was the white sakura flower incense, which was being sprayed into the air via machines hidden in the ground. Using the white flowers that grew from Uchi's sakura tree, they were able to make an incense that, when breathed in, would completely stop any form of violence. Although that didn't apply to the Grimm. Thankfully our masks blocked that out. But we need to move before we're all slaughtered, Karai thought, before pressing down on her earpiece. Kurogiri. It's a trap, we need to get onto the airships above us. Understood. Give me a moment to get an image. Kurogiri responded. A few moments later, he spoke again. Alright, I see them. Get ready, and I'll open the portals around you and, wait, something's wrong. What? What's wrong? Karai shouted, getting more and more nervous. I can't open a portal in that area. I can't open a portal anywhere around you. Kurogiri yelled out in shock. This has never happened before. Something's blocking my quirk from working in that area. Midoriya must have done something. Activated some kind of machine. If you can destroy it, then maybe I can assist you. Destroy it? We're surrounded by a force equal to or greater than ours, and most of our forces can't even fight back. Karai shouted. How do you expect us to search around this ridiculously huge chunk of land and find something? Especially when we have no idea where it might be, or what it might look like. Then I'm sorry. I can't help you, Kirajiri said. Damn it. Karai shouted as she dodged another attack from a Grim. Midoriya got us. Things seemed rather bleak for them. Flying villains attempted to get in the air, but they were either attacked by flying Grim or shot down by the airships. And Destro. Destro shouted out in pain, as he was sent flying back from a punch sent by Gamma 2, and knocked on his back, as the android stayed in the air with his jet boots. You know, for someone who preaches the whole, the strong should rule, you'd think you'd be stronger. Gamma 2 taunted cockily. Why are you miserable? Destro jumped back up, and charged at 2, only to get blasted in the side of the face by a giant red energy blast, and knocked onto his side. That's when Gamma 1 flew down, holding his ray gun. Quit messing around too. This is a battlefield, not a stage. Can you really call this a battle? Gamma 2 scoffed. More like a massacre. Seriously, did these idiots think we wouldn't be prepared for this after the second time? Damn, you. Destro said he tried to get up, only to get pelted by blasts from both androids. Well, at least he's holding off those two, Karai muttered under her breath. No matter how she looked at this situation, she was screwed. Karai looked up at the blue typhoon. The only hope we have is to get onto that ship. Guess it's time to put my training to the test. Meanwhile, in All for One's lair, he watched over the battle, via one of his quirks. Eagle Eyes. Basically it allowed him to create an eagle, and see through its eyes. Looks like Midoriya is just about done with us. And it seems his attention is completely on the battle. All for One noted. Well then, time to start looking for the real treasure. They're definitely not off the Foundation grounds, and I doubt he'd hide them on or below the ground, so let's try up. He wanted the eagle to fly upwards, high into the clouds, and started looking around. It took a few minutes, but eventually, he found it. Hidden within the clouds was Monstra, surrounded by ships, and with Kai on top of it. Jackpot. All for One chuckled. Kirajiri, can you open portals at around these coordinates? Yes, master. It seems to be out of range of whatever device Midoriya is using to stop me from opening gates. Kirajiri said. Good. Then I believe it's time we started phase 2 of our plan. All for One said, with a sinister smile. I wonder how well your children will be guarded, Midoriya. PLAing Monstra was weird for Yami. Yami was submerged in a pit of black goo, which gave Yami control of Monstra. From his perspective, it appeared like he was floating in a black void, with a giant tear in front of him, allowing him to see various parts inside Monstra, through sears in the walls. This meant when Kirajiri opened up a portal in one of the rooms, he immediately noticed. Out from the portal, stepped the entire Cold Clan, along with dozens of robot versions of Cooler. But not just them, after All for One sent a few of his own minions to join them. There was Tomura Shigaraki from the last attack. Then there was a blonde-haired girl in a school uniform. The villain is known as Toga Himiko. After that was a black-haired man, whose body was covered in burns and stitches. The villain called Dabi. In fact, strangely there were 2 of him. This was likely the work of another one of the intruders, a man in a black and white suit, called Twice. Then there was a masked villain, with white boots, a large yellow coat, and feathered top hat, holding a cane. This was Mr. Compress. And lastly, a large blonde man in a tank top. The infamous muscular intruders. Yami thought as he immediately signaled all the Grimm to pour into that area, although he quickly had to rethink that decision, as more portals opened up all across the ship, and more metal coolers popped out. So many of them. Grimm definitely won't hold them long, Yami thought. Have to tell the others. Meanwhile, all of the kids were sitting tight inside one of many rooms inside Monstra. Without much to do, they all just talked to each other about what they would do once this was over, what shows they watched, etc. Suddenly, a seer came out of the floor, and Yami spoke. Intruders. A lot of them. What? Damn it. Sai growled, as she quickly picked up her phone. She attempted to call Izuku, only to find that her signal was being blocked. Darn it. I can't call your father, we'll have to fend for ourselves for a little while. Alright. Yami, separate them and get information on their quirks. Everyone else, get ready. All the non-combatants get into the security chamber. Combatants, psych yourselves up. It's time for war.